The NMT Media Foundation, in partnership with Gender Links under the Marang Fund, organized an LGBT and media engagement in terms of ensuring that there is the advancement of understanding regarding how the media is reporting on this community, but also how we can strengthen the media to advance the strategic engagement and also maintaining the principles of ethical reporting.
Mm-hmm. So why is it so important to focus specifically on how the media reports on the LGBTIQ plus issues in Namibia at this point in time?
As a country, we have seen the progress and existence of communities who identify differently, such as the LGBTI community, and this engagement is crucial to ensure that the diversity in representation and the issues affecting the community is clearly representative of the reality and not misrepresented in reporting. This also speaks to the importance of amplifying proper storylines and also visibility and awareness of this particular community, and that clearly indicates the importance that the media plays a very, very big role in this country. They're the ones that connect the communities, but also ensure that it influences the advocacy of policy and legislative reform in this country. And for a community that is extremely marginalized like this, there is a great need for us to strengthen the knowledge and skills of our own media houses in our own country.
So, Linda, talk to us about how social stigma and legal frameworks in the country influence the way that media reports on this community.
You know, what is interesting is that when people hear the term LGBT, we also know that comes with a flair of its own understanding and also own reality around how people view this particular community, and that initially speaks to the importance that the voices of the community is clearly indicated, but also spoken from their own views. But also, we had to deal with the prejudice first before we can deal with stigma and discrimination. So as journalists, as media practitioners, we also have opinions about what we think of certain things. So in order for us to strengthen and demystify the misconceptions, there is a need for us to have that dialogue by bringing in the media and the LGBT community in one space, but that also initially elevates the demystification of their personal prejudice, which means that there has a reduction on the stigma attached to this particular community, and also it could impact the reduction of discrimination. So currently in this country, we are faced with a high level of homophobia, biphobia, and transphobia towards the community, but it's also because a lot of Namibians do not understand who the community is. So the idea is bridging the gap between the community and the media houses so that they're able to have access, be able to be representative, but also for them to report accordingly in terms of ensuring that stigma in our communities are broken down, but also at the same time that discrimination is not enhanced because of the way people reflect on who this particular community is. So that is a very crucial point for us to bridge, because this community experiences vast levels of stigma and discrimination because there's extremely misconceptions about who they are.
So what would you say to Namibian media houses on the role that they play in shaping inclusive public discourse, and how do journalists' personal biases or societal pressures impact their reporting on the issue, and how can this be addressed?
So there is a number of ways, and I'm sure we've seen in the country that there has been great work that has been done, and also the media's reporting. If I tell you now, 10, 15 years ago, the reporting wasn't even this conversation that you and I are having wouldn't even have taken place. But that shows around how the media has progressed to make sure that different community voices are heard. Yet at the same time also the purpose of this training was also to ensure that the media also reflects on the way they have an impact on enhancing homophobia, biphobia, and transphobia. So that initially speaks to the element of the journalist is very important for them to understand the community, because the issues around homosexuality carries a legal element, but also a greater conversation that people are bringing forth that is around morals and values. And that initially tells you that those two areas carry different alignment of engagement. So as a community, the systemic realities that are being experienced are crucial to ensure that we are able to implant, invest, and ensure that media houses have the right skill, the right language, and also the right representation in the way they write. We've seen reportings and articles and headlines that actually enhances the strike of dislike towards this community. But the idea was basically advancing a dialogue and refusing to go into a debate, because issues of the LGBT community always carries a debate, and in this regard, we allowed the journalists to speak, reflect, and be able to also be honest around how their views are in terms of the LGBT community and also their issues that are represented. So broadly, in one sentence, the legal framework in this country is enabling for LGBTI people to live. It is not illegal to identify as a homosexual person. However, we also know the other aspect that speaks to morals and values is influenced by culture and tradition, and in that it has also played a big role on how families look at their own children who identify as such, but also how the communities are reacting. So this intermediate role of ensuring that knowledge and skills are transferred was very important for us to continue engaging the media and also holding them accountable in ensuring that they do ethical reporting, but also do not misrepresent the communities.
Now, Linda, are there any examples of positive media coverage that you can share that have contributed to greater understanding of the community in Namibia?
Yes, I can tell you that, like I said earlier, there has been great progress. If you and I sit back and think 10, 15 years ago, you would get one article in 3-5 months, or maybe none in the year. Now, where we find ourselves in 2025, we have seen positive reporting on the lives and issues that are happening that are affecting LGBT communities. But also at the same time, there's another strike where you see the headline. The main problem that we have with the media houses, the journalists write very good articles. It is the punchline at the end of the headline that initially is sensationalized to enhance forms of homophobia and biphobia. Last year has been a big year for us. We have seen a great reporting happening when it came to the litigation cases. If you look at this year, we've had about 6 hate crimes. And in those 6 hate crimes in 4 months, the media took responsibility to elevate, educate our communities in this country to understand what hate crimes mean for a particular minority community. So the only thing and the call to action here is that media continuously invest in making sure that the issues and how they report carries sensitivity, consent, but also proper truthfulness within the reporting that they're doing. So I can actually say, in answering to that question in the last line, is that there has been great improvement of reporting, but there is a need for our editors and producers to ensure that they do not put down caption lines Like, I'll give you one caption line that is really derogatory, but the article was well written by the journalist. Gay sex legalized. That is a headline that is not truthful of the issue that was coming out, and that has to do with the decriminalization of a particular legislation. So that doesn't necessarily mean that gay sex is legalized. You can't put a heading like that and make it sound that it has been illegal for years. So that is what we are talking about. There must be interrogation on how we put our headlines on, because a lot of our people do reflect on the headline and conclude what the outcome of the reporting is or what the outcome of the article is, and that impacts the lives of the LGBT community. And that is why the past 2 years has been a difficult journey for LGBTI people in the country to belong and to be able to live freely.